Okay guys, we're going to take a look here at our Heritage Upholstery MGA kit. We're looking at a carpet set first, and then we're going to look through the whole kit. This is for a full upholstery restoration. Before we start looking at some of the details here, I can tell you that our MGA kit is undoubtedly the very best in the world. I've seen everybody else's, I've made comparisons, and we feel, and our happy customers feel, that our kits are to the highest standard. We've yet to see anybody even come close, to tell you the truth. So they are very high quality, and I want to demonstrate that with this series of videos. This carpet set is cut on our $100,000 CAD cut machine. So it's computer cut. This particular carpet set is in the black Wilton wool carpet. The original carpet for the car, the MGA, was Carvel carpet. We own the brand name Carvel, and we are able to supply the original Carvel carpet. I don't know that any of our competitors can. So there's one substantial difference. The Wilton wool carpet is often a choice, arguably a better looking carpet than the original Carvel, but the show guys that just got to have the Carvel, we can certainly provide that. So we'll look closely here at the carpet set. As you can see, the armrest, the leather armrest, is supplied with our upholstery kit and is included with the seat cover package. So when you buy your seat covers, you get an armrest. If you just buy seat covers, you get the seat covers and the armrest. The armrest, of course, is supplied, not sewn into the carpet set, unless, of course, the customer chooses a full meal deal with the carpet set, and then of course we sew it in. So that's how it looks when it's sewn in. It's carefully top stitched. Again, all the shapes and patterns have been developed very carefully over many years. The back is slit, and calico fill, just like the factory did it. Lots of great attention to detail included in the original OE heel pad. It's exactly reproduction of the original. Binding where the carpet was bound, in this particular case on the driver's mat, around the subframe stanchions in the frame. I'm sure you guys will be familiar with that. Passenger driver mat. We're not going to look at all the components for the carpet set. We'll just look at a few highlights here. I can tell you that our carpet set includes the fixing hardware, and as you can see, it's a very deep. There's a lot of pieces for the MGA. We include the correct. Let's pull some out here, and we use the correct lifter dot male studs, both the screw type and the wood screw type, and then the lifter dots, male female plates, all the snaps. So we carefully go through everything that's required for the carpet set is supplied, not installed on the carpet set. We don't supply them on any of our carpet sets. Installed, we supply them for the customer and the installer to install. That's how it was done at the factory, and that gives the best results. As you can see, we'll even have in the snap that's required for the inspection plate here. Okay, so continuing on with the MGA carpet set, I've just selected a few pieces. If there's listings, not the entire carpet set here, but just a few to show you. If there is listings required in the carpet set, they're sewn in as this one is on the, I believe that's the rear bulkhead, and then lots of the pieces are supplied unbound, which was original, with relief cuts in this particular case, and all the shapes necessary to cover all the components within the car. Again, a small selection of the full carpet set, but I think this gives you an idea. Again, all our products come with an unconditional guarantee on fit. In this business, it's all about patents and patent development, accuracy, and our computer machine helps ensure that standard is maintained. We have developed these patents very carefully, and everything fits like a glove. Here's an example of something else included in the carpet set. In this particular case, we have the underfelt. You'll notice the label. All our pieces, when they come in the kit box to you, come with the appropriate labels. It's pretty obvious what this is. This is the underfelt set. It's all cut to shape and so on. However, some pieces are not as obvious. So here's an example of that. Here we have a covers for, let's see now. As you can see, it's for the door top roll retrim, that's leather, and the rear quarter leather covers. Now, this is the cockpit surround on the 1500s and 1600s that were originally in leather from the factory. Now, this leather is obviously appropriately oversized. It's rolled in a bundle here. There's 4 pieces. That shows us that, and it shows us the sizes on the label. So with that, you or your installer knows exactly what piece goes where. The rear quarter leather covers, for instance, here, and if you guys know them, there's that funny shaped dog leg type D-shaped piece that is on the rear quarter that's covered in leather for the cockpit surround. It's an aluminum piece, if I remember correctly, with machine screws that attaches to the body. When the piece is finished, you might only see an inch and a half of leather. But we start out with a 6-inch piece of leather. It's appropriately oversized for the installer to grab and pull and manipulate that cover onto the final piece. We're never stingy with our oversized pieces. We give a decent amount of material to be able to do a good job so that a guy can handle it. Again, the door top cappings for the door tops always leather, 33 by 66. The rest of the cockpit surround is actually in vinyl. The factory did it this way to save on costs. They put vinyl where it wasn't seen. And here's another example of one of our labels detailing those pieces. We have the rear cockpit roll vinyl, 45 by 5. The dash roll vinyl, that's the one at the front, 46 by 5. Dash top vinyl, where applicable, some of the cars were painted, 52 by 10 inch. And dash fascia vinyl, again, I believe that's, now my spec is failing me, but it's, I believe most of the Roadsters had the dash fascia in the vinyl. 43 by 10. Again, they're rolled in a bundle. They're cut on the computer, precisely the appropriate size, and then carefully labeled so you know where they go. What isn't shown here that is included in the cockpit surround the D-roll are the pieces of piping. So we even supply the piece of piping. They're made up. They'll come with their own separate label saying exactly the size. They're not stock pieces of piping pulled off the roll. They're cut on the machine. They're oversized. They have a large flange that allows them to be fixed underneath those cappings. And that completes the D-roll surround kit. Okay, we'll continue to look at some of the details of our Heritage Upholstery MGA kit. In this particular case, the Roadster. Before we look at the seats, I'll just go back to the carpet snaps, an example of the detailed list that we supply for the carpet snaps and so on. The numbers are quantities are shown on the tag for us to pull, and again, everything is needed. Likewise, you can see how these labels will all go onto the appropriate panels when they're finished. They're unpacked at the moment. They haven't gone to the shipping department, so these are not placed. But it goes to show the detail of there's the piping requirements for the dash. Again, they're not finished at the moment, but they are provided. So okay, so let's switch from that and take a look at our seat covers. As with a lot of things, it's all in the materials. We use very high quality leather. and the correct grain vinyl, both imported from Europe, and also the carpet set. So all our materials are exactly as original, and that's the high quality leather is demonstrates in the final outcome. You can see finished seats on our web page. This customer has chose to install his own seat covers, and so we won't be able to show them installed. This is typical of seat covers, any of our seat covers when they're first sewn. These dimples that you see in the fluted sections, they do not stay in the finished section. I'll just demonstrate here. You know, you pull on them and out come the wrinkles. So you can see that. Anyway, so they're under tension when they're affixed to the frames. There's the cushion portion of the seat, has a beautiful and accurate top stitch between the leather and vinyl. Again, typical of the factory. You use leather where you can see it, vinyl where you don't. On the inside there, up against the gearbox. And the backrest, as you guys will know, they're handed left and right. There's allows for the convertible top frame. And again, another hallmark of our heritage seat covers is this very high quality scrim foam we have specially made for us, and perfectly straight pleats. Again, our sewers are very experienced, and we pride ourselves in the accuracy. So that's the seat covers there. The seat foam pads are also included in this order. So this replicates the way that if you guys ever take your seats apart, you'll see that technique being used on the factory. You know, admittedly, it really doesn't look like this would do the job, but it certainly does. You can see the results on the finished seats on our webpage, exactly what we use. We use the same components that we supply. The 4 pieces of Dacron, they get used on the frame. Again, this is the backrest shown. Unfortunately, we're out of stock of the wedge-shaped cushion portion of the seat. I did manage to find this crappy-looking thing. Please don't be put off by it. This is nothing that we would ever supply. The guys have been using this for a knee pad. But you can see the contour cut wedge shape. And our new stock will come in the handed left and right. But this at least demonstrates the type of thing that you would find for the cushion portion of the seat. The results that we get with these materials combined are entirely obvious when you see the still photographs on our webpage. Okay, so here's another necessary, in my opinion, on every seat that has wooden tack strips. They should always be replaced. Again, we CNC cut these. These are in the Baltic birch ply, 9mm Baltic birch ply. Not just any old plywood. It doesn't work that way. It has to have this high quality plywood to be able to take the tacks and take the strain of staples and so on. It's false economy to use anything other than that. So again, we're able to supply these. They get screwed to the tubular frame. So I think that concludes the seats portion, and we'll switch now and have a look at some of the panel work. Okay, before we look at the panel work on the MGA that we provide, I just want to go back to the leather. Again, it's all in the ingredients in the cake. It's to do with the quality of the sugar and flour, if you know what I mean. This leather is the very highest quality auto grade leather made in Europe. We import it. We pay a lot of money for this leather. It's expensive. That's how we get the great results. That's one of the significant differences in our kit. This is a full 1.1 to 1.4 millimeter thick, correct auto hide. This is not, there's a lot of cheap leathers out there. A lot of people use furniture leather and so on, which is not correct for automotive. This gives the results that we're famous for. We could supply cheaper leather. We certainly we're offered it. We know our competitors do. We take the high road with quality. I wish you guys, I wish we had some smell-o-vision here. Another great thing of high quality auto leather is the smell, of course, that it's famous for. The other substantial factor with high quality leather is, of course, longevity. The high quality auto leather lasts, so when you do your upholstery for your MGA, when it's complete, not only looks good at the beginning, it continues to look good for years later. Again, I wanted to make that point before we move on to the panel work, and then we'll have a look at some of that. Okay, so another trademark of our heritage kits are the completeness. We supply everything down to the chrome screws and washers that affix the panels. The hardware is supplied in the kit. If it's a panel, we supply it as a complete, fully upholstered panel. The panels are CNC cut in various substrates depending on its application. If there's creases in the panel, they're supplied creased, ready to go. Of course, most shops don't have access to this expensive tooling. And if it's a cover that gets glued onto the car or is acquired as part of the upholstery package, it's supplied pre-cut, as we show with the upper door cappings and so on. In that particular case, leather. They're supplied appropriately oversized, and every single piece of soft material you need for the entire cockpit of the car is included in the kit. There is no extra material to buy, and there is no recovering of old panels. So we'll take a look at some of these panels. You can see the door panel here, all fully trimmed, ready to go, and the back side of that panel. Our panels are our work is as famous on the back as it is on the front. They look beautiful at the front, of course, and that's what you see. That's very important. But we make them look beautiful where you don't see. The factory never finished their panels to this standard. They didn't have the time. They were mass-produced cars made cheaply and quickly. There was no time to do this kind of detailed work. But as you can see, we achieved that. We use a very high quality glue, and in addition we staple the finished panels so that they don't peel back in time. Now the door panels are shown that way. These other panels I'm going to show you I've taken from one of our guys prior to him get into the stapling stage, but I wanted to film this before it went out. So here we have the kick panels, the A-post panels, again, fully upholstered, ready to go. Likewise, what we call the dog leg panel or the B-post panel in the rear. I'm sure you recognize that shape. Excuse me. These are the little cover panels that go onto the chassis frame that protrudes into the body of the car. I'm sure you guys recognize those. And probably the most difficult panel to make here is this pocket that goes inside in the door here, of course, when it's installed. Now that's the opposite side, but you get the idea. And these are again tool cut, creased appropriately, and riveted with our riveting machine, and supplied fully upholstered, ready to go. So that's a good overview there of the MGA Roadster panels. Okay, now we're looking at the MGA 1600 side screen storage bag on a complete restoration to be correct for show standards. The original style side screen bag is supplied. Again, it includes the appropriate snaps that are required to hold this in position on the rear cowl, on the rear bulkhead. You can see again CNC cut, computer cut, and just how accurately and beautiful the sewers get this stitch in here. Hopefully it comes through with the camera. And again, those lines you can see again, extremely accurate sewing, made possible with the computer cut in and the pencil lines that are drawn on with the computer. Again, it's a double pocket there. This still has the chalk lines from the computer, and they get cleaned up prior to shipping. Of course, bound as original. You can kind of get a sense of the overall accuracy of this piece. Okay, we're going to now take a look at our MGA tonneau cover. This is the latest style cover that does not have the steering wheel bag. It has the dart like this for the steering wheel. It's a completely different pattern. Again, our patterns are very carefully developed. You can see them, these products fitted on the cars on our webpage. Our weather equipment, that being tonneaus and convertible tops, they're certainly not the cheapest out there. We're aware of that. However, this is not the mass-produced stuff that you can get from the part suppliers around the world that offer some upholstery products. We're a specialist company just making upholstery, not supplying parts. There's a world of difference in that in itself. We have to have everything to be to a very high standard to survive just specializing in one thing. So these are again computer cut and beautifully hand sewn by our best sewers. This is not an easy piece to do. You can see the accuracy of the sewing and the top stitch in there. Again, the machine draws on the pencil line, so the accuracy of this top stitch here is maintained as is easier to do because of that. Other people trying to make this and try and get that line, they'd have to measure it. It'd be very difficult. This is the reinforcements on the back, again exactly as original. Reinforced twin stitch again, and the flap there for the zipper. And again, the appropriate hardware is supplied. And don't have it at hand here, but again, it's all the snaps and hardware are supplied. A great feature of our Tonneaus is this very high quality zipper. It's a YKK zipper, the very best zipper available, and it's an extra strong, lasts for years. It's usually a weak point of Tonneaus. If you guys see any of your old Tonneaus, you'll see, or reproduction Tonneaus, they often have the zippers fail. I love the YKK little marketing saying that they have on the side of the box. It's small part, big difference, and I agree. They're very high quality, and we always supply them with our Tonneaus. So that concludes the overview there of the Tonneau, again reinforced at the back here as original, and I think that's a pretty good overview. Looking at the MGA 1500 Tonneau cover in a very nice gray stay fast. You can see the zipper has the big high quality YKK brass zipper, the best money can buy. We use only the very best for hardware here at Heritage. The computer cuts this and puts the lines on, so you can see how perfectly the sewers nail that. That's a reinforcing top stitch. How beautifully everything is sewn. Much higher standard than you'd ever see at the factory. And the 1500, of course, has the steering wheel cover, and the 1600 is without that, and it's a slightly different shape, but you get the idea. And not much more to show. The Tonneau hardware is included with our Tonneaus. They're not attached. For the best results, they should be fitted to the car, and then the hardware installed. So pretty good overview there of the MGA Tonneau cover. So I get asked all the time, hey Mr. Heritage, how do you get your pleats so dead straight? And I say, you have to have a $100,000 computer cutter machine like this. And that's how we do it. This is the sew foam inside the seats. This is BJ8. You see how the machine is cut in the slits in the sew foam. Not all the way through, only halfway through. Very difficult to do. And that makes our pleats absolutely straight. No hand cutting. That's the secret right there. Another reason that separates Heritage from the rest.